The pathway of love from your Gene Keys profile is a powerful pathway. It comes from the Venus sequence and it connects the sphere of your EQ to the sphere of your SQ. And I had an amazing, ecstatic, beautiful experience this morning that makes me want to talk about this today. Love is ecstasy. And there are two paths to connect to that ecstasy, to the innocence, to this spirit of awakening. And one of them is the path of meditation, and the other is the path of love. And both of these paths lead to the same place. In fact, the path of meditation leads to love, and the path of love leads to meditation. But they are two very different ways of getting there. The pathway of meditation is, I think, what more people think of as the traditional path to awakening. It's locking yourself away, going to an ashram, meditating for hours on end, calming your mind, your body, and your spirit enough so that you can see the truth in things. And it takes unplugging from society because it's just too busy and too fast. And it takes a separation from the natural order of things. You kind of have to leave your home and leave your family for a period of time to really do the deep work of connecting to something greater than yourself. These secrets don't give themselves up easily. And so we need to make space. Or we've got the pathway of love as another pathway of awakening. And that is the householder's pathway. That is using your life as a means of raising your frequency over time. So we're using of course, our primary relationship. That person is in your life for a reason. There is dharma and karma associated with major relationships in our life, and they are here to teach you lessons and here to help you learn things. And so everything that comes up with that other person is an opportunity to grow, to raise your frequency, to come into meditation, to find peace, to understand what's yours and what's the other person's. But it's also other relationships in your life, relationships with your friends, with your boss, with your children. All of those give us an opportunity to recognize what truly matters and what's really important. And it is equally as powerful as the path of meditation. It leads to the same place, the same feeling of acceptance, of knowing that you're supported and safe, knowing that there is something that is looking out for you, that is causing all of these things to come into your life. And so you have to ask yourself, do I want to go on the path of meditation or do I want to go on the path of love? And ultimately, you need to ask yourself the question of, can I put my relationships at the heart of everything that I do in my life? And if the answer to that question is no, that is totally fine, but that probably means you're going to go the path of meditation. If the answer of that is yes, then we have an opportunity to walk this householder path, to allow life to serve us up lessons without needing to go to a cave in the Himalayas for a period of time. It's important to know that sometimes love doesn't always feel loving. Karma can be hard to unravel and hard to deal with. And our job as a person that's walking the golden path is to keep the godlike image of somebody else in your heart and in your mind. To see that this is a person who's going through things in their life just like you're going through stuff in your life. And that there is at their core a sense of love because they are a piece of the divine just like you are a piece of the divine. And a lot of times we have a tendency to run away or to want to leave when enough of that energy comes through. And sometimes that might be appropriate, but oftentimes we're running far sooner than we should be running. We need to hang in there and we need to deal with that karma. We need to learn those lessons so that we don't end up looping back to the same thing over and over again. This pathway is one that requires boundaries. It requires an understanding of who you are, who the other person is, and what you're willing to accept, what you're willing to allow into you to help that other person transmute without you getting lost in them. And that's what can make this pathway so difficult, is we have a tendency to get overwhelmed by the energy of a situation. We have a tendency to get entangled or codependent with the people that are around us. And so one thing that's important to keep in mind is that we are doing this work so that we can have stronger boundaries, so that we can understand who we are, not so that we can call in some partner that's going to change the world, our world, for us. That's your job, not their job. And the pathway from EQ to SQ, this pathway of love, represents the opening of your heart and the ability of your heart to stay open all the time. And what I mean by an open heart is trusting and accepting in life, knowing that the things are coming to you because they're meant to come to you and because you're going to learn lessons, and knowing that God has a plan. We close our hearts, we shirk away when we feel like we're a victim. And that is the opposite of love. That is the opposite of the gift frequency. Remember, every shadow contains a gift. And so when you catch yourself in that victim state, you're going to notice a tightness in your chest. And that is the closing of your heart. And it just takes time. And each line is different here. If you look at your lines of your SQ, you can have an idea of what you need to do in order to nurture your heart back to open again. And this love comes as a flood, like the ecstasy that I felt this morning. So I was in bed, and some of you have probably had this experience before, where you wake up and everything just feels so good. You are so comfortable. You get like cricket legs where you can feel the sheets and the covers, and the air temperature is just right. And I was just in such a deep sense of gratitude that I was laying there thinking that this is better than taking ecstasy. I'm not kidding. It just felt so good. And that is this flood of love. So Richard Rudd, the founder of the Gene Keys, uses an allegory of water throughout the Venus sequence. Like we start at the sunless sea, for example, which is this dark emotional void. And what is represented here on the pathway of love is a flood. This is a breakthrough when it comes at you. This pathway is analogous to the pathway of breakthrough in the activation sequence. So that's the pathway that connects the sphere of your evolution to the sphere of your radiance. And when we get this breakthrough, it's like everything changes. It's like taking off or putting on a pair of rose-colored glasses. There's a new tint to everything that you see in the world. And if you haven't had this experience yet, if you are still in a place of anxiety or depression or rage or shame or guilt, know that you are on the edge of holiness. Turning towards those things, asking them what the lessons are. What do I need to do in order to transform this energy? It's there that you know you're close. When you were born, before you were born, you were still whole, right? We're in our mother's womb and we can still feel connected to the one, to the thing that connects everything else. And then we're born and we have this sense of separation right out of the gate. And that sense of separation is what causes all of those emotions that I was talking to, causes all of that longing. It's just a cry for reunion. It's a cry for love. And that's what the goal of this pathway is. To come back into that wholeness, to feel the flood that is waiting to come back to you. It's there for all of us. It takes time. It takes nurturing yourself back. It's not like your heart opens and it stays open forever and ever until we hit the point of awakening. But for most of us, we're going to go back and forth. And it's just our job to learn how to notice, how to nurture it. And over time, you'll be able to open your heart faster and faster. All right, guys, until next time.